A new tropical cyclone Batsirai formed over the Indian Ocean and began to move west towards Mauritius, Reunion and Madagascar. On the night of February 3, it approached the islands of Mauritius and Reunion, which are located along the path of the cyclone to Magadascar. Today it made landfall over the area of the city of Batsirai, central Madagascar. Until February 4, heavy rains are forecast over all of Mauritius, Reunion and the entire east coast of Madagascar, high winds and storm surge. Strong winds caused tidal waves in coastal areas, flooding beaches. Sailors were warned of the threat of stormy seas as the wind increased, gusts of which exceeded 60 meters per second. A severe winter storm hits for the second time this year this week, according to the National Weather Service forecast. It will cover most of the central US and spread to parts of the northeast. Local residents are being warned about heavy snow, freezing rain and sleet. On the night of Feb. 3, a winter storm brought heavy snowfall to the Chicago area, with snow accumulation approaching 30 centimeters in some areas. Such weather conditions led to a traffic nightmare, as numerous cars quickly became stuck in driveways and parking lots. Moreover, due to poor visibility and ice, the number of traffic accidents has increased. Many motorists got stuck in a snowdrift and have already spent more than 8 hours in the cold waiting for rescuers' help. Heavy rains hit the Turkish city of Izmir. As a result, part of the streets went underwater, and cars along with them. The rain flooded houses and shops and blocked cars on the roads. Rain intensity peaked on Thursday night. The maximum flood level reached 50 centimeters. People pumped out water from shops and apartments on the ground floors. Couriers on mopeds, whose number has increased significantly during the pandemic, overcame the streams of water on the streets. Local residents rescued an elderly woman who was swept away by the flood. Fortunately, she managed to catch on the ledge of the truck. According to representatives of the meteorological department, 77 liters of rain fell in the city center per 1 square m. Due to heavy rain that passed in the city of Biga, Turkey, the CATACLYSMS River overflowed its banks. Due to the flood, areas that are located near the river were flooded. Authorities last night issued a warning about possible flooding. Some of the local residents ignored this message. Now their cars were in the water. Meteorologists have warned of expected heavy snowfall in the eastern regions and the highlands of CATACLYSMS. Weather conditions can change dramatically, as well as ice and a strong drop in temperature are expected. Heavy rains in the northwest of Jamaica led to flash floods and mudflows in some areas. The city of Port Maria was hit the hardest by heavy rainfall. At least 6 people were taken to hospital with injuries sustained during the disaster. Stormy streams carrying water and stones rushed through the streets. Dozens of cars were damaged. The basements and first floors of the buildings suffered from flooding and mud caused by the flood. Eyewitnesses of the incident said that it was impossible to save the property. The flow was so strong that it moved cars from their place. People barely had time to leave them and move to a safe place. The Jamaica Meteorological Service released several warnings for heavy rain and flash floods in the coming days. A strong snowstorm with wind gusts up to 30 milliseconds per second hit the Turkish city of Bursa. The snowstorm, which began on the evening of February 2, continued throughout the night. After the storm, the thickness of the snow in some areas reached 110 centimeters. At the same time, the air temperature dropped to -13 degrees. Earlier, the Department of Meteorology issued a snow warning for Bursa. Bad weather conditions caught some local residents on the road. In the morning they were caught by a picture of huge snowdrifts. A blizzard was predicted, but there is no such snowfall. Many motorists got stuck in their cars on the highways. They needed the help of rescuers. Snowfall is also expected today, with the possibility of falling up to 40 centimeters. Wildfires in Perth, Australia are beginning to take on catastrophic proportions. One of the major fires was marked by Rockingham. He came close to the local hospital. Thanks to the efforts of fire brigades and volunteers, it was possible to stop the spread of fire. By that time, all patients and staff had been safely evacuated. There is still a possible threat to life and homes in the cities of Rockingham and Kwinana. The fire is out of control and unpredictable. Authorities warn of a possible evacuation of the population. Fires in the northeast of Perth have been going on for a week. Fighting them is hampered by a strong wind, which only increases the fire area. More than 250 firefighters are on duty in the forests. The country's authorities have connected several large air tankers. Heavy rains have caused floods and landslides on the Indonesian islands of Java and Sumatra. At least 3 people died. In Cianjur city, more than 60 houses were flooded and at least 10 were destroyed. The population is being evacuated. The cause of the flooding was the Batang Hardi River, which overflowed its banks. So far, there have been no reports of casualties. However, 50 hectares of agricultural land were also underwater. According to the Indonesian National Disaster Management Council, heavy rainfall caused a landslide in the Pagelaran area, Cianjur Regency, West Java. 1 person died. Cars and roads were damaged. Off the coast of Nigeria, there was a powerful explosion on a floating oil installation, which is used to extract, store and unload oil. At that moment, there were 10 people on the floating facility. Following an explosion at a facility capable of storing 2 million barrels of oil, a fire started. At the moment, the company does not report possible deaths or injuries. The tanker is reported to have sunk. Unfortunately, there is no information yet whether there was an oil leak. The forest fires that are now raging between Zamora, Spain and Portugal continue to spread. The authorities announced last night that they have managed to stop the spread of fire, as well as localize 3% of the main fires. But strong winds tonight brought everything and efforts to naught. This is the first major forest fire in Spain and Portugal in 2022, which mainly affected the Montesinho Natural Park area, Portugal. Satellite images show that about 2,000 hectares were burned in the Spanish part and 850 hectares in Montesinho Park in Portugal. The fire has a high intensity, spreads very quickly and destroys all new areas. A strong explosion was heard for many kilometers around after the eruption of the Fuego volcano in Guatemala and the release of molten lava. The report from the National Seismological Agency says that a moderate to severe explosion was recorded at 10:57 p.m. local time. Affect nearby communities. The explosion caused a column of ash at an altitude of approximately 4,500 meters above sea level, in addition to ejection of incandescent material that completely covered the volcanic cone. The activity of the volcano was visible from a long distance. Big shock wave. Thank you for watching the video. Thanks for supporting the channel. Good wind and weather.